you got there on anything yesterday. We did only have one game. And how you doing today?
Doing good, Skee. A little Friday heavy card here, 5 games. Did not play yesterday. Had NFL preseason to choose from. Chargers, easy winner there, and also a CFL game, but didn't play anything yesterday. Probably should have been on that under. Golden State and Washington, we talked it out yesterday. It seemed like a really solid play, and it turned out to be one. And 18-point fourth quarters combined will help unders quite a bit. So that's what those two teams put up. Was a little bit of a playoff atmosphere for sure. And now Golden State owns that tiebreaker. If they should tie at the end of the year, it's going to be the Valkyries in the playoffs and not the Mystics.
Yeah, still definitely going to be important down the stretch for sure, that game. And Mystics had a chance to win at the end, but couldn't quite get that bucket from Brittany Sykes. Big slate today, huge 5 games. So let's just get right into it. First game up, we will go 6:09, 6:10, always in rotation order. New York Liberty are heading into Connecticut. They open -9. They're up as high as, I see one -12 out there, but a lot of 11.5s. Total also skyrocketed here from 164.5. I see it as high as 172.5. Injury report, nobody there for Connecticut. For the Liberty, Kennedy Burke, Nyara Sabally, and Brianna Stewart, all listed as out. The way the Liberty have been playing defense lately, Rob Veno, I can understand why this total has skyrocketed. I mean, they've given up 90+ in 3 straight games. Now, does that mean it's going to continue? I'm not saying that, but that's what they've looked like. If we're just going off what they've looked like. I do know after that loss to Dallas, they had that team meeting, right? And I just listened to a lot of them talking, whether it's that post game there or the post game after the Lynx. I forget which one it was. But in general, or it was maybe pregame, something like that. But in general, they were talking about, you can't keep coming out here, let teams putting up 27 points on you in the first quarter and having to play from behind all the time. Like, they need to fix whatever they're doing on defense. So at some point, they will start to get it together on that end. But Connecticut has been playing well. They do have Marina Mabry there. Will it be tonight, Rob?
Well, they've been playing much better offense, right? I think it's 4 of their last 5, 85 points or more scored by Connecticut. That doesn't mean they're adverse to giving them up, because they've given up 101 in 2 of their last 3. And it's the worst defense in the league statistically. We know that. So New York probably finds their way to a bunch of points if we just go to logic school here. The addition, I know you've talked about her a lot the last few days, but Emma Miesemann should be in the lineup tonight for New York. Probably means even a little more offense, despite the injuries. I mean, that's a good player to get back. We'll see how she comes out in her first game here for the Liberty, but they have no trouble scoring. So we totally can understand why this game would move up so much. Congratulations to anybody who got that 164.5 opener, because you've got a lot of closing line value. Now, we just did see, as we were talking here, Skee, we saw a significant drop. A couple of places went from 173 right down to 171.5. So there was a little bit of take back here. Not quite sure why, but I guess I could understand why. Once it gets to be a 9-point move, there's going to be some take back. You can middle this game if you choose to do so. I don't know any which way you could play it other than over. I mean, New York's team total is high. It was like 91, maybe 91.5 when I looked earlier. The Connecticut team total, something maybe you could get to at 79.5, 80.5. It's all over the place, so shop that one. But I have to say, they priced me out. Too afraid to play under. Not willing to play that high of a number over, even though, like I say, Connecticut scored like crazy as of late and seemed to be playing a pretty – it doesn't show up in the numbers, Skee, but when you watch them, it looks like they're playing at a higher tempo. Like, they don't mind grabbing a rebound and going at this point in time. So for me, it would be a lean toward the over here, just based on recent play. If we're going off of one of your favorite guidelines, last 5 games, We're supposed to be on over 171.5 here. We'll see. I just thought it got to be too high priced for me to bet it at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, if you go off last 5 game stats, I can understand. Liberty hard at number one pace. Neither defense has been good. But like I said, at what point are we gonna buck this
Mm-hmm.
move to the over? Um, I do think a focus for Liberty from here going forward is on the defensive end. After what I heard them say, and like we just mentioned, them giving up so many points. I'm looking at. Let me pull up a couple things on the screen here so we can all look together. I just know I'm a visual person, so I want to look out for the people who are like me. All right, let's first get the money baller up there. Do we see that, Rob Veno? No, we don't. Okay. Boom. Now we see it. So just looking here a little bit at the history, they did play, and Liberty absolutely destroyed Connecticut by almost 50. But just looking when these teams play, usually lower scoring games. Nothing close to 170 out of these last 5 meetings. Thinking that, that hearing that focus for the Liberty on the defensive end. Now let me pull this up because I was actually typing something in while you were talking, and it was really just based on what I said and what we were talking about here. So boom, boom. And I know now that I have to come over and click it again to get it up there. There we go. So pretty much what this is saying, road favorites who lost their last 3 games and they allowed 90 plus points in each of them. 0 and 3, 0 and 1 ATS, 4 and 0 to the under. Man, I mean, this just makes so much sense to me. I mean, they were scoring those games because see some offensive regression from them as well. And if the focus is on the defensive end, I mean, after you give up 90 straight, 90 and 3 straight, and you're the better team, you should. This just makes sense to me. I mean, I'm doing it like how I do my System Saturday show, but Vino, you tell me what you think about this. Again, road favorites who lost their last 3 games in which they allowed their opponents to score 90 plus.
Especially, and I don't know how far you can narrow that if you could narrow it even further, Skee. I mean, New York is an elite team, so maybe above 500 teams that have allowed 90 plus. There's not going to be many in that sample size for sure, but I can see the angle that you're coming from there. I still, and I've talked about it the last couple of times we talked about the Liberty. For me, it's not Breanna Stewart on offense. It's her defense. And since she's been out, it's been terrible. Not that it was great prior to that, but they had given up less than 80, I think, 4 games straight. And now since she's been out, they've been torched pretty good on the defensive end. Natasha Cloud, we thought might have been out the other night, but she did play. And they still got lit up for a bunch of points by Minnesota. So I could understand the focus being on defensive side of the floor. Whether or not New York can execute that is another story here against Connecticut, which is an up-and-coming offensive team. And it's a bit, to add to your point, Skee, this is a bit of a rivalry. I mean, the Connecticut-New York thing is a rivalry. Granted, Connecticut has been a different style team this year, and certainly a much different personnel-wise team this year than they have been in the past. So some of those older results we could chuck. But there is a bit of a rivalry there between these two, which would lead you to believe maybe you get a little more aggressive on the defensive side. We'll see. I don't have the guts to play it either way. Like I say, we'll see if New York can do some adjusting here on defense.
We shall see. I think that's when I might get to the window with. Might not be a huge play, but still maybe a play nonetheless. All right. What did I do here? Messed up the screen. There we go. Let's go to the next game, Rob Veno. That is Indiana Fever versus Dallas Wings. Opened up -3 for Indiana. 4s pretty much everywhere. There is a couple 4.5s or a few 4.5s out there. Total open 167, and another one that is just skyrocketing all the way up. I'm seeing 175 as a consensus number right now. As far as who's available, there will be no Caitlin Clark in this one. For Dallas, Maddie Seegers, good to see her out there tonight. She's been out. She's actually very likely to play now. So we should see her out there tonight. Um, one thing or a couple of things for me. Actually, I kind of have a lot to say about this game, but I'll start here, Rob.
Hmm.
The Wings are in a double revenge spot for the Fever. The first picture that comes in my mind when I think of this game is Caitlin Clark was like going off or whatever. Like, they're winning by like close to 20, and it's the end of the game. They're about to walk off. She's like enjoying herself, maybe talking a little bit of shit or something, And Paige Beckers is just looking at her like, okay, we're gonna get y'all back. I don't know. I like the way Dallas has been playing lately. Paige has been playing well since Haley Jones came over there. Like they're a much better team when she's on the floor. I feel like just from watching. So I like everything she's brought to the table. I like Dallas being at home here. I think there's a chance for some regression from Indiana, coming off of 46% night from 3-point land. They scored 100 and something points. I can see the Wings keeping this one close, if not winning here at the house. So with that, first, how do you feel about the side, or if you don't have strong feelings, maybe the total?
Well, I like the Dallas side, and you called it regression. I'll call it letdown for Indiana. They've won three straight. You walk in here as a favorite, like you say, you're beating the team twice. I just feel like it just has the feel of a letdown spot for Indiana somewhat. And we know Dallas is going to attack, attack, attack. Indiana is very, very good. We've talked about it a lot. Second chance points, that's one of their assets. But Dallas, again, especially good themselves at crashing the offensive boards, getting a lot of shots at the basket. There's times I feel where Indiana is very vulnerable defensively at the rim. So Dallas might be able to take advantage here. The guard matchups actually could be really close in this game, tell you the truth. I mean, if Enrique has a decent night shooting the basketball, their backcourt can outplay anybody, and they're going to push pace. There's no question. So it could be a game of, I would say, scoring runs by each of these teams. I don't think either of them is that great defensively. It's why we see the big push towards the over in the total, 167 all the way up to 175. Indiana's off back-to-back games where they've averaged 100 points, 93 and 107. The 93 was scored against Chicago without Angel Reese. Not hard to do. It's not hard to score 90 against Chicago in any game anymore. So I don't know how much credence I put into that. But they are on the road now, off a big game, an important game with Phoenix the other night. Dallas is off the home loss the other night, and it was kind of a heartbreaker against Atlanta, right? Atlanta hits a three. I don't want to say at the buzzer, but pretty close to the buzzer. So it was a heartbreaking loss for Dallas. They played really well. And before that, they beat New York. So to your point about them playing better lately, certainly true. I like them plus the points here. And it's another game where they probably priced me out of total. I know the pace is going to be there. I know both teams can score, but at what point, like you say, you're asking both of these teams to get to 88. It's not impossible, but you got a lot less wiggle room when you're betting over 175. Let's put it that way. It's almost as if somebody watched the games on Wednesday, saw all those 190, 200-point games, said, I'm not betting anything but overs with these teams anymore. So we see a lot of movement there. But I'm in agreement with you. I kind of like the underdog at home in this game.
Well, I am going to shut out. I'm not going to put everything on the screen, but total-wise, home dogs and double revenge spot same season are 63.7% to the under. There's about 180 plays in that sample size. Goes back to 2014. So that says under, and I can understand why, but I don't know that we trust these two teams to play that much defense. So I personally don't think that one makes sense. I'm not going to put that one up. We'll take a look at this though. Something for a side and a total I'll put up for you guys. How about that? And this applies to another game. We'll bring it back up for that game too. Doing a little bit of sharing and talking it out here today, Rob Veno.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Here we go. And I know I have to double back and actually put it on the screen. There we go. So, and let me get back over here. What this is saying, pretty much you're looking at road favorites who road favorites after a game where both teams scored 100 points. Like they scored 100 points and their previous opponent scored 100 points. That is Fever and Wings. Like I said, it's also another game today, but 1-7 ATS, 8-0 to the over. So we've already seen a big market move to the over in this one, and that makes more sense. I mean, with the way these two teams play, not really the most trustworthy defensively. It's just can you really get in after it's moved 8 points kind of deal. But that support on the side, I mean, that makes sense too. Um, yeah, I think the market is probably moving in the right direction for the total, and we already agree on the side. But what do you think about this one, Vino?
Yeah, Wings games, especially a matchup between these two, about impossible for me to play under. Like you say, the only reason why you don't jump at it at this point in time is because there's been an 8-point move. But it makes a lot of sense what you put up there as far as system or trend goes. So have a little backing that. I can't quite tell. I see a 176 final score, a 182.
Oh, you're
A
looking at the total.
181. They're all going over the number tonight, aren't they? All those things are better than 175.
Yeah, they did. The average total was 170.8, and they went over by 13.6 points per
Mm,
game.
yeah, that's pretty strong. Pretty strong.
All right. So, yeah, if you got in early on that one, that was a good job betting that over. And there's B Man right there said he did play over 167. He might middle. I mean, did a great job getting the best of that number. I'll tell you that. Next game up, Rob Vino. We are going to look at Mercury and Dream. This one opened up -1 for the Mercury. They are now 4 or 4.5 point favorites. Total open 162.5, and it got up as high as 167.5. I'm seeing right now. Injury report, and let's just do a little refresh. Nobody on there for Phoenix. For Atlanta, we know Ryan Howard is out. Brittany Griner has been ruled out. Jordan Canada is questionable. Um, I mean, we talked about Atlanta, and let me just pull them back up. They've been playing a lot of, they've been traveling a lot, I feel like. Yeah, they've traveled every game. Wow. They've traveled every game. I mean, this just goes back to the 11th, but yeah, they've been traveling every game since the 11th. Um, they are coming off. It is their third game in 4 nights, right? They did play that back to back versus Dallas. They had 1 day rest to come in and play this game. For the Mercury, they've been on the road for this will be their fourth straight on the road, and it is a chance for them to get some revenge. Last time these teams played, Atlanta beat them 90-79, and so the Mercury have not been playing their best basketball lately, Ravino. Um, but the Dream, I feel like the Dream have to be running on fumes. This is one where, I did get in early. I got the money line at a better price than what you can get right now for the Mercury. But again, I mean, I'll put that. Let's put this right back up here, right? I mean, this trend says that you might not want to lay the points with the Mercury, in the same sense that you might not want to lay with the Fever. So I'll give it to you on this game. I'll show you this trend once again, and then ask you your thoughts on this game. This trend says over and to fade the Mercury ATS.
Well, I feel, it's interesting, Skee, because normally you would be talking about Phoenix being the fatigue team, right? Fourth road game in a row. They're going to have a fifth. They're going to play Chicago in Chicago after this. You'd be like, man, Phoenix been on the road forever. It's 4 and 8 days. They've had a day off, at least 1 day off in between all of their games. So they've had a chance to rest. But when you get to the Atlanta schedule, just the way you mentioned, I mean, we talked about it the other night when we took Golden State plus points. They had exhausted themselves on that 3-game trip, fly all the way back home to play 1 game, only to get on a plane and fly right back out the next day and play a road game, win that road game, and now come back home and play Phoenix. As tired as you might want to think Phoenix could be, Atlanta's got to be even more fatigued. And add to that the personnel losses here and the potential loss for a second straight game of Jordan Canada on top of it. I don't know. I played Phoenix in multiple ways in this game. I'll give you this number as far as the first half bet is concerned. Phoenix is -2.5 in the first half. Atlanta at home this season, first half, slow starters, 3-8-1 against the spread at home. Phoenix has only been 1-3 first half, their last 4 games. But prior to that, they were 8-2 and 80% first half covers. So they lost their way a little bit during this road trip, but they're 1-2 on the road trip right now. And I just go back to the game against Washington the other day. They had lost their initial game on the road trip, went to Washington, got behind, and then smacked them in the second half and won that game pretty easy. Chance to get the 2-2 here on the road trip. I think they should be motivated right out of the off the opening tip here. I'll say this: you were talking earlier about, this is what jogged my memory here. I knew I had this quote about New York maybe being focused on the defensive end after giving up 90 plus in 3 straight games, right? Here's what Phoenix Mercury head coach Nate Tibbetts had to say about that same thing. He's had a problem with the Phoenix defense. After the last game, he says, you're not going to win many games when you give up 107 points. That's not reliable. We have to be more solid. You're also not going to win when you give up 32 points at the free throw line. So the head coach is actually making the point that there's going to be some focus on defense here tonight. I like that as well for the Phoenix side. I think they're a good first half play. I think they're a good full game play. I think they're a good team total play over 85.5 tonight. It's a high scoring team against a fatigued team without their rim protector and Brittany Griner. With the revenge factor, like you said, from the 90-79 game where they kind of just went through the motions. Atlanta's done a great job, let's face it, without Ryan Howard for this length of time, without Jordan Canada the other night, without Griner, with Griner only playing like 13 minutes the other night. But I don't know that they can get it done here, Skee, against a team that, I think is pretty motivated to get the victory in this game. So I like Phoenix in multiple ways here. Like I say, first half, full game, team total, take your choice. I like them all.
Yeah, the money line, man, I just looked at it. I think it's minus, actually, let me see. Yeah, I'm seeing like minus 180 for them right now, even a minus 195 out there. But I did get minus 140. So I like the Mercury to win. And if you can't beat the Dream, I mean, Ryan Howard out, Griner out, Canada. If Canada's out too, I mean, we saw how they were just double teaming Alicia Gray, getting the ball out of her hands. And whenever Alicia Gray was not in the game, the Dream were not having success. If you can't win this game, I mean, we got to have some questions about this Mercury team. So that's the way I see it today. And I do think there could be point score. But again, you probably want to single out the Mercury team total like Veno did, because if you're missing the starting point guard and Griner, could be tough for the Dream to score. All right, next game up. 2 more to go. And I'm starving, Rob. I need to go get something to eat. Man. 6-15, 6-16. Valkyries and Skee. Opened up minus 5.5. Mostly 5.5s out there still for the Valkyries. Total open 156.5. Seeing as low as 153.5. As far as injury report, there will be no Angel Reese, no Ariel Atkins. Looks like Haley Van Lith, Uzan, and Onyenwere all questionable. Then for the Valkyries, Maria C continues to be out. Sandra Lassini is questionable. Mo Billings, I mean, this can't be correct. I need to refresh. I'm pretty sure I just saw something a post saying she was out. But this site says she's very likely to play. So that's confusion. Yeah, see, this one says she missed last game due to a sprained left ankle and has been ruled out and will be reevaluated in 3 weeks. So I'm pretty sure. And you got to make sure these days with these, it's not like one of those prank accounts or something. Now, this is the real account. So the Valkyries put that post up. Yeah, Valkyries played last night, Rob Veno. They squeaked out the win. We talk about it. As bad as Skee have been without Angel Reese, I mean, it's still tough to lay with the Valkyries here on a back-to-back. Lay with the Valkyries in general. Like, they're more of an underdog team. To be expecting them to win by multiple possessions, missing few key players now. Um, it's just very tough for me to bet this game. I'm curious how you're looking at it.
Well, I'm going to tell you that being in this industry as long as I've been and betting games as long as I have, you and I talked off air yesterday about one specific thing, how hard it is to bet overnights. And I just couldn't help myself, Skee. I go right to the app yesterday afternoon and bet Chicago Golden State over the total at 156, only to find out a few hours later that Angel Reese isn't playing. And so here I am stuck with 156 as it goes down to 153. You just can't bet overnights. The reasoning was simple. I didn't put much thought into it. It's not hard to score against Chicago at all anymore. It'll be even easier tonight without Angel Reese, actually. And Golden State defensively probably will not be the same team tonight. I think they exerted themselves on the floor last night against Washington. Should be pretty much of an up and down style game. Chicago, now without Angel Reese, the problem I have, of course, is that their offense goes right in the tank when she can't facilitate. They really don't have any guards that can handle the basketball. They turn it over left and right. With that particular ticket, owning that particular ticket right now, I have to kind of hope that Golden State really isn't aggressive defensively tonight, and maybe Rachel Banham and company can get hot and score their share of points. I still think it's going to be a very lackadaisical defensive game, but now you have to trust both offenses at what's really still a low number, 153. I don't know, Skee. I'm stuck with a ticket I don't really like, but what am I going to do now? I got to live with it.
Man, first of all, shout out to my guy Jay Money in the chat. Appreciate you dropping through. Always good to see you. And he says if Angel Reese was in, he'd have a heavy bet on the Sky. And I can't blame you on that. I'm with you. Reese is the Chicago Sky, in my mind. But Veno, I got I have a couple systems that line up on the over for this game. But man, are they don't include the Sky without Angel Reese in them.
It doesn't matter. Give me some hope, Skee. It doesn't matter. Just post those things. Oh, man.
Here, you know what? Here's what we do. I have two of them, but we're going to do the simplest one. How about that? And we'll see what we think there. So this pretty much just says the past 11 years, unrested road favorites versus opponents who are well rested, more than 1 day's rest. 10-1 to the over goes all the way back to 2014. Or I'm sorry, can you even see this? You can't even see it.
No, but I can hear it, and I like the sound of 10-1 over.
I guess we'll just do the audio for this one. But yeah, man. It says that these teams get over. Again, I mean, I'm looking at teams who are playing. They look a lot sexier. Like it happened 2 times this season, but the teams who played were Lynx versus Sparks, Fever versus Wings, not Sky without Angel Reese and Valkyries back to back.
But to be fair, those totals probably weren't 153 either, but I get your point.
Very fair. Very, very fair. None of them actually were this low. This is the lowest total out of all of them. So maybe it's too low. Hopefully Rob Veno can still get there.
If they can make it like a YMCA game, Skee, where everybody just scores and nobody cares, we can do this.
Well, Sky have had 2 days off to figure out what they're going to do on offense. I'll tell you that. And Valkyries playing on a second of a back-to-back might not be the most locked in defensively. Maybe there's some hope there, Rob,
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next game and last game. Sparks and Storm. Nobody on the injury report. I'll get that out right away. And opened up -5.5 for Seattle. Pretty much see fives out there. Total open 166. And I see it as high as 169.5, actually. Storm with the slight rest advantage. The Sparks have been playing really good basketball, though. I believe they won 5 in a row before that last loss. And they've been really scoring at will. This is like the opposites here. The top offense lately, versus probably one of the worst offenses. And then, yeah, I'm looking at last 5 games. So Sparks actually, after that last game, are the number 2 offensive rated team last 5 games, and Storm are 13th, which is dead last. As far as defensive rating, Storm number 1, Sparks number 12, second worst. So just opposites in that regard. So on that note, Rob Veno, I'm curious how you think this game is going to be played. Um, the market thinks it's an over game. How do you feel?
Yeah, I played it that way, Skee. Simply, for me, a lot of it is bounce back. I watched the way the Sparks played the other night, and it wasn't their typical recent offensive game. They were terrible from 3-point range, didn't do a lot offensively. Las Vegas got out quickly in that game, and the Sparks never really seemed to recover. It's to me, it's going to be hard for Seattle to slow the Sparks down, and I say that knowing that they just played Connecticut, and to me, when you're comparing defenses, the Sparks and Connecticut kind of fall into that same category. They allow points to be scored. There's no question about it. The one thing that slowed me down a little bit was I was asking myself, how much better will the Sparks be with Cameron Brink on defense now? But she's still going to be on a minutes restriction. It's only going to be your second game. I don't know that she'll have any major defensive impact right away. That may come down the road after she's got a few games under her belt. Seattle should be able to score easily, so I don't think they'll slow it down. The Sparks will obviously push, and it's difficult for the Seattle defense. The last 3 teams they played, Chicago, Washington, Connecticut, at this point in time, none of them make the playoffs. Chicago and Washington, not that great of offensive teams. Connecticut, not that great either, but they scored 85 on them, and prior to that, Dallas had scored 87 on Seattle. So I don't know. Seattle seems to be good defensively because they try to play the game slow. It's like the more time we can grind off the clock, the better our defensive numbers can look. I don't know if that happens here against LA. I think it gets over. In my mind, when I ran through some numbers that I keep, I came up with a final of 88-83, which was 171. And at the time when I bet it, the number was 168. So here you still have a little bit of wiggle room. Not much, according to my numbers, but you should be able to get there with an over.
Not mad at that. I don't like to bet Sparks game under. That's for sure.
Mm.
So, thinking there'll be some points scored in this game. This is probably my least favorite game of the day. Yeah. So after the other 4 games all start at 4:30. After that, I can go home.
Or continue on, whatever you want to do.
Unless the first 4 games send me to the bar, then I might be stuck.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we did a pretty solid job on these 5 games for today. Now we're going to move it on over to best bets. I don't have anything to put up, but I know you've talked about that NFL thing they have going. If there's anything you would like to promote, feel free. If you have a best bet for the show, we'd love to hear it. If you do not, all good.
Let me help Johnny and the Detroit crew out here, because I know there is a brand new brand new deal.
I didn't even look to put it up, so that's my bad.
I had to look this morning to see what was new, but basically what they're telling you is they're going to give you 3 months, 13 weeks actually, so 3+ months for the price of 2. So if you purchase the next 2 months, August, September, you're going to get all of October and probably a little into November as well, which covers almost all the college football season, a lot of the NFL football season, obviously Major League Baseball, NBA basketball will probably, it wouldn't have started by then. Yes, it will. It'll start in October. So you're going to have a lot of things running here at the same time. So again, that's a long-term deal. Basically, in simple form, it's purchase the next 2 months all access package and get 3+ months, 13 weeks for the price of 2. So find that over at wagertalk.com, and you're going to get a lot of action. I mean, as far as we're concerned, these next few months are, the way these sports overlap, are the most action-packed with games that you'll find throughout the season. Best bets, I have a lot I could choose from here, Skee, but I'll go back to the Phoenix-Atlanta game. But I just think Phoenix is ready to play this game, a lot more ready than Atlanta is, even though it's their fourth road game. I think Phoenix will show up. I'm going to play them first half -2.5 in this game. I think they get to it right out of the chute, win the first half by 3. Like I said, Atlanta's been a slow starter at home. First half ATS 3-8-1. I could see that continuing here, especially as they try to, defend Phoenix without having Brittany Griner in the middle. So give me that one. Give me Phoenix first half -2.5.
All right, good stuff for Mr. Rob Veno. Yeah, for myself, a lot to choose from. You're right. I only made one bet, but I'm going to be making more. I'm going to go with the first game we talked about, New York and Connecticut. I think it has gone too far. Open 164.5. Now you can get a 172.5. The focus after you give up 3 straight 90 plus in 3 straight has to be defense. They talked about it. They couldn't do it versus the Lynx, who are, a top team in the league. But versus Connecticut, they absolutely can hold them down. So just a combination of those things, thinking there could be some regression from New York as well. They've been scoring a lot, even though they've been giving up a lot. So I'll go under 172.5 as my best bet for the show. Veno, appreciate you taking the time to come cap these games. Definitely helping out my process. I know you help out the chat. Somebody in here said earlier, they said Veno's the GOAT. So we all appreciate you. Chat room, great people. We had Jay Money sliding through today. Good to see you, bro. We appreciate all of you. Good people, good cappers. We all just trying to help each other win. Everybody else out there, Twitch, X, YouTube Shorts, Kick, Spotify, Apple. Much love to you guys as well. We appreciate you rocking with us every day. Last show until Monday. Actually, no, there are no games this coming Monday. So looks like it'll be Tuesday with the 4-game slate. We'll be back for this show. So best of luck on all your action until then. And